Welcome everyone to season 7, episode 15 of the Focus TV. We got Octavia White here, Cardo Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. And look, it's one of those weird, slow weeks. It's the week after the Super Bowl, coming off NBA All-Star Weekend, which I'll touch on in 2 seconds, and it won't take that long to get through that. It's going to be one of those kind of heavy rapid-fire shows. We got some stuff to discuss, but we're in between some things. All right, you're almost at conference tournaments in college basketball, but not quite. Yeah, which means you're almost at NCAA tournament, but also not quite. Starting the second half of the NBA season, but not quite. MLS is starting, but not quite. Next week we'll have a lot for you. This week, NBA All-Star Weekend. It did happen. That is a legitimate fact. That's the positive I have for you. Steph beat Sabrina in their NBA versus WNBA three-point challenge, 29-26. UNESCO went first in their one-round competition with 26. Steph edged out for the win with 29. Mac McClung defended his title in the dunk contest. Damian Lillard did the same in the three-point contest. Benedict Mathurin was MVP of the Rising Stars game. Then, of course, there was a game, air quotes, played on Sunday night, and I'm sure we'll get into some discourse about that at some point this evening. Ray, on to you as you have the unenviable task of, getting everyone ready for the second half of the Wizards season.
From a overall standpoint, we know what this season is for the Wizards. I mean, it's been a rough one to this point. But yeah, something I did want to touch on actually a slightly positive note. Denny's month of February so far. He's been kind of finding his way, so to speak. He's averaging 23-9 on 61% from the field, 50% from three. Got a little work to do from the free throw line. And needs to take care of the ball a little bit more. He's actually averaging more turnovers than assists this month. But, overall, we kind of talk a lot about him getting out of his own way and just playing. He's been doing that a little more consistently over the past 7 or 8 games. The last game before All-Star break, he had his best career game, to date. He had 43 and 15, against New Orleans. Unfortunately, it came in a loss. But, I think he's getting to a place where he's getting comfortable and starting to do things more consistently that yield positive results for him. Just him being decisive and deciding to get downhill and play off that is it's starting to reap dividends for him. So yeah, it's just exciting to kind of see him progress in that way. Like I think we've all been pretty high on him since he was drafted, but just kind of wanting him to fully realize his potential and just kind of understand how good he can actually be. So yeah, man, it is good to see him produce from a number standpoint. Just got to get that to translate into wins somehow. Over the weekend, Bilal Coulibaly did participate in the in the rookie challenge. It's good to see him get rewarded for the stellar season he's had up to this point. It's been some growing pains, as it is with damn near every rookie to ever play in the NBA. So, and especially given the situation he's in right now, we constantly see people, he needs to do this offensively. He needs to get in his bag or whatever the hell that means. He does the thing very well that everybody else on the roster needs to follow suit in, and that's play defense. I'll take the other 11 guys defending like him over him being able to do fancy dribble moves any day of the week. Especially given how this season has gone. We talk consistently about their struggles on that end. Like, we've seen them score 125 points and lose by 20. So we need to be a little less worried about Bilal's bag and more about the team's cohesiveness on the defensive end of the floor. But yeah, spoiler alert, don't expect them to turn things around and have an incredible second half of the season. It's not going to happen. We just want to see a little more consistency and a little more effort. front office need to get cracking on who they're going to draft in the lottery, because they can't continue to miss on picks. They hit on Bilal, and they just need to build and move forward from there. Yeah, you see where they are in the standings, 9-45. Social media's favorite phrase, nasty work. But yeah, we just gonna see how it goes, man. They have been showing a little more fight lately. Hopefully that continues. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of things that need to happen. In the immediate and for the long term, for for this team to kind of turn the corner. And again, this is Wilson says it all the time. This is ground zero of a massive rebuild. So be patient. So yeah, it's they are back in action Thursday. They're at the defending champs, so they're getting a hell of a welcome back to the second half of the season. Yeah, at this point, we're at bare minimum stages. Just want to see them go out there and compete to the best of their ability.
Very well said, sir. Like you said, for you Wizards Outlooks folks, we'll be seeing you guys a couple times this week. Because as Ray said, they start on Thursday, and the next week or so, some heavy hitters, some firepower they'll be dealing with. It's the kindest way I can say anything about it at all. But yeah, that record, it hurt when I had to go find the picture of the record and to read it. It hurt. Then it hurt to screenshot it, and then it hurt to see it again just now. I want to college basketball. Cardell, we'll start with you with GW.
Yeah, the losing continues, man. No matter the level in this area. GW, man, enjoying a nice 8-game losing streak right now. Richmond, who came into Saturday's game in a 3-way tie for first in the A-10 standings, with Dayton and Loyola Chicago, defeated George Washington 90-74. After allowing 76.7% shooting in the first half to trail by 15 at the break, 52-37. I repeat, GW allowed 76% shooting in the first half from Richmond in the first half, trailing 52-37 at the half. They held Richmond to 38% in the second half. But, however, the damage was done because of the hot first half that they allowed Richmond to have. They battled in the second half, obviously led by the defense. They cut the deficit to 4, 63-59, following the James Bishop 3 with 9:31 left to play. But the type of energy to mount that type of comeback to get that close is more than they bargained for, and especially without one of their starters, Garrett Johnson, who's one of the top freshmen in A-10. They just simply ran out of gas, man. And despite his regroup, and they finished the game on a 27-15 run. James Bishop played the full 40 minutes, scored a team high 23 points, while sophomore Max Edwards scored 19 points, knocked down 3 3-point field goals, and was 6 of 10 overall from the field. Replacing Garrett Johnson in the lineup was another freshman. Garrett Johnson is a redshirt freshman, but JaCoy Hutchinson's a true freshman. Getting his first start, posted 15 points on a perfect 3 of 3 from deep. Jordan King paced Richmond with the game high 24 points after dropping 32 in their previous meeting in Richmond. Neil Quinn said their 7-foot center was ultra efficient inside. The center scored 19 points on 9 of 12 shots from the interior. He scored Richmond's first 12 points of the game. He's a big reason why they shot 76% from the field, because they got the ball inside often, and often he had inside position. He scored at ease. GW would look to snap his 8-game losing streak Wednesday at St. Joe's at 7 p.m.
Yeah, that's tough. 8-game losing streak.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough right now in the DMV. It's just tough.
All right. A little bit more of a positive note at the moment. Senior day in College Park this past weekend from Maryland, and they've been through some things this year. A good senior day. They also got their lick back at Penn State. Handed them a couple weeks ago. I know they lost Shannon Sellers in that game, but regardless of that end score was the end score. And I'm sure they felt it. Faith Masonis after the game mentioned this one felt like a little bit more personal, which is good. It's good to see someone feel some type of pride after losing, and trying to get some type of get back. And they did. They beat Penn State 77-62. Jakia Brown-Turner with a career high 32 points in the win. Maryland used a big third quarter to take control of this one. For those that aren't familiar, and I just going to share it, the women's game for the past few years, they don't do just full halves. They play quarters. So it's from the 7-minute mark left in the third quarter until the end of the third quarter, Maryland went on a 23-4 run to take control of this game. And on a very special day, most importantly, I said Jakia Brown-Turner had 32 points. 28 of them came in the second half. She got busy when they needed her most. Defense served Maryland well in this one as well. Allie Brigham and McKenna Marissa had a big game against them the last go round. Also, former Terp Ashley Owusu went off against them. And since Owusu's returned to the floor for the Nittany Lions, she's the leading scorer in terms of per game for the Nittany Lions. But Maryland was Allie Brigham had 14, McKenna Marissa, I keep messing up her name, had 13. But they slowed Owusu down to just 7 points, which played a huge role. Because she, folks remember at Maryland, she's a very tough cover and tough to deal with if she's able to control the tempo of the game. But Maryland did what they needed to do. Cheyenne Sellers, I'm talking about narrowly missed out on the triple-double. 17, 9, and 9. Hell of a game from her, obviously. Jakia Brown-Turner with 32 points. Ali Kubik and Renee Alexander finished with 9 points and 8, respectively. Up next, Maryland will host Rutgers on Wednesday. As we get closer to, the bracketology and people figuring out where things are going and all that good stuff, one of the things Maryland does have in their back pocket, they had the second toughest strength of schedule in women's basketball this year because of the teams that they played at the start of the year with non-conference. So it's imperative that they finish well down the stretch. Obviously, even if they get in, they won't get in and be the seed that they normally expect. But credit to them for trying to kind of digging themselves out of that hole. They still got to finish the regular season strong, though. Got another big game this Wednesday as Rutgers comes to the Xfinity Center. We're going to take a break when we get back. Quick update on DC United, and then we're going to get a rapid fire and see what Cardell has for us, because people in sports have been on one this past week, and it's like people just keep trying to outdo each other in terms of the level of stupidity with the things that are coming out their mouth. So we're going to see what we have, but you're watching the Focus TV. We will return shortly. Welcome back. As promised, a quick update on DC United. The Black and Red have returned from Saudi Arabia, where they spent most of their training camp and preseason. They're going through something right now where some of the supporter groups for the team made it clear that they are not fans of the team having held preseason in Saudi Arabia. So we'll see come this season opener this weekend exactly what supporter groups are going to be in there and in which. And in terms of how strong their numbers are, we'll see that this week. We heard from Coach Troy Lucine several times during preseason, but, it's a new regime. They're similar to the Wizards where it's ground zero. So, all the words of what you want to do and, setting foundation, all that good stuff, as Cardell said multiple times through the years, but all that is well and good. The games are about to finally start to be played and counted. So we will see where those first steps are, what that identity looks like to start the year. Obviously, your goal is to be somewhere different by the time the year ends, but we get to see at least where they are at this point. They hosted New England Revolution this weekend, the 24th. When we get back, we're going to jump into rapid fire. All right, Cardell, we ready to go with rapid fire. Where are we starting this week?
The wonderful All-Star Weekend.
Oh, boy.
After the 211-186 Eastern Conference win in Sunday's All-Star game, Commissioner Adam Silver, with the post-game line of the night, when handing out the winner's trophy, quote, to the Eastern Conference All-Stars. You scored the most points. Well, congratulations. Silver clearly had to have hate that game. A day earlier, Silver sounded certain that the players would take the game more seriously. Quote, I think we're going to see a good game tomorrow night, Silver said. Obviously, not exactly. Uh, to impart more news, Vincent Goodwill also reported that NBPA executive director Andre Iguodala, Larry Bird, and Dr. J went to the locker rooms before the game to stress having a competitive game. Iguodala even went to the rookies Friday. The rookies played a competitive game. Obviously, the main event, the big time, the big guys, the All-Star game, not so much. My question to you guys is, should Silver and the NBA look to provide any incentive moving forward to motivate these players to get better effort? Are they even deserving of even looking at any incentive whatsoever? Octavia, we're going to start with you.
Yes, so it's crazy to even think that they have to continue to add incentives for them to play. I mean, they already added one incentive with the in-season tournament. Some of the players that don't make the bigger contracts are getting money from that. But yeah, it's to me, it's a problem when I feel like that the NFL, what's the thing called? Their little All-Star game. I can't think of the name of it right now, but
Pro Bowl?
like, yeah, the Pro Bowl. That's what it's like. The NFL Pro Bowl to me was more interesting than the NBA All-Star game. Like,
Damn.
it's kind of sad. Like, I actually watched the Pro Bowl game, and like they were really out there like trying to like destroy each other, like for real. Like there was no let me let you go score. Like they was literally guarding, like playing on each other, like everything. So it's kind of sad when it comes down to that, because we know what the Pro Bowl used to be. Nobody paid attention to it. And granted, I think that they did a good pivot with, the flag football aspect of it, so players aren't getting unnecessarily injured. Um, but they got to do something. Like, honestly, I fell asleep both nights, Saturday and Sunday. I kept telling myself I'm gonna stay up and watch it, and it just was not interesting at all. I mean, I know we're talking about the All-Star game specifically, but even Saturday night, like, I mean, the 3-point contest still to me is the best thing, but it still wasn't that exciting. I don't know. I don't think the incentives are the way, unfortunately, just because, like, how much more money do y'all need at this point? I don't know what they're gonna do to fix it, but it's bad. Like, it's just bad. I mean, I don't even know how many players they say had like over 30 points in the game. Like, that's just wild. Like, what is the point of this? It's they played hard in the end season tournament. I don't know. Just cancel the All-Star game altogether at this point. Just be an All-Star in name only, and let's just give them a week off, because it's hard to watch. I keep hoping it's going to get better, but it hasn't. So I don't know what they're going to do.
5 players had 30 or more points in the game, which is ridiculous. Ray.
I mean, one almost had 40, so.
Yeah, this is pathetic and embarrassing. I mean, they talking about adding incentives. I think they get a pretty nice incentive on the 1st and 15th every month. So what are we talking about? Yeah, everybody involved should be embarrassed. And then the conversations that are happening, I mean, it's a lot of people that are, that are obviously displeased, but the people that still trying to make excuses for this nonsense, like that, and that's part of the problem. Like, people got to be honest. Like, people in the opposition, and even on bigger platforms, like they just got to be honest and say what it is, man. They got to hold these guys to the standard that's been set. The All-Star game used to be the marquee event where you see the top of the top talent in the NBA compete against each other, not get out there and have glorified shoot around. Like, I saw a graphic where I want to say, I forgot how far back they went, but like I want to say it was like the 03 All-Star game or something like that. there was 67 fouls called. In Sunday's game, it was 3. So you go through a full NBA game and only 3 fouls. That means you're not even attempting to think about playing defense. So, and then people, they don't going hard is a risk of injury, and it's about longevity and preserving yourself for the postseason. Playing hard in one game in February don't have nothing to do with the postseason. And to be perfectly honest, the only injury I can ever remember happening in any All-Star game since I've been alive is when D-Wade broke Kobe's nose. And what was Kobe's response? I love it. I love it. Being competitive, playing defense. D-Wade swiped tried to get the block, hit him in the nose, broke his nose. It is what it is. Shit happens. Like I don't know if this can be fixed, to be perfectly honest, because these guys have gotten so much leeway. They've been coddled so much. You know, they letting the inmates run the asylum, and this is the result you get. I hope you're happy. But this sucks, man. And I mean, I really didn't expect anything different. I mean, guys don't even take the regular season seriously. 65 games is too much to play to receive the top honors in the league. So why would they care about basically a exhibition game? You know, it's just no pride, no competitive nature. And yeah, this regime of superstars got to hold this one, because they set this tone, and this has been building for years and years. And now we're at the precipice of it, and it's just completely in hell right now. So yeah, all this talk about errors and this and that. Which era destroyed the All-Star game? So yeah, man, buddy, I don't know where they go from here. And if you're the era that's responsible for the All-Star weekend getting scrapped, man, oh man, they talking about impact on the game and people legacies and all that. Boy, hold some people accountable and have that real conversation, since we want to talk about all that other nonsense. But that's a conversation for another day.
And we're in Ray. I found the graphic. It was 62 fouls in 1993. 37 fouls in 03, 24 fouls in 2013, 7 fouls last year, and literally only 3 fouls on Sunday. Wilson.
Hey, man. First of all, I've seen a lot of people, because they love excusing what these dudes do today, like, All-Star games aren't competitive. That's cool, but what we did know growing up, as the game went on, so did the intensity. It rose. They flatlined before they got to Indianapolis. It never spiked. Like, that's disgusting. I get, like, taking it slow. That's cool. I can accept that, and give us a good half. Give us a great quarter. We didn't get a good anything. It legitimately just got worse as it did the inverse of All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to get better as you approach the main game. It got worse. Literally just got worse. Also, to my 2 suggestions to fix it, I don't think you can do it in a nice way. I'm a big proponent of shame fixes things. But before I get to the shame one, I'll start with, since they want an incentive, we can leave the East and West home court advantage in the finals. Since y'all don't care about nothing, go ahead, go out there. See what it looks like when you're stuck out west or out east trying to get a chip. And then I don't want to hear anything about the legacy, how hard it is or nothing, because you decided that party and All-Star Weekend festivities were just too difficult on you to ensure that you can compete for a championship. My best suggestion, hey man, make it USA versus the world and let them dudes beat them over the head until it's done. Just do it. Just let them beat on them until they take it seriously. I just want pure shame. That's it. Because they've tried every nice thing, and I'm done with incentives. Like, they've lowered the bar so much. Nah, man, just do USA versus the world, man. Let them European folks beat on you on your home soil and then go back overseas and enjoy the rest of the All-Star weekend, and then come back in the regular season and beat on y'all some more. And then let your fans and the media talk about how they beat on you for the rest of the season and the off season. Shame. Just let it happen because they play around too much. Just let it happen.
Yeah, my take from it is I just feel like I've been saying it for years, man. It's the player entitlement era. And you saw the entitlement on full display this weekend, especially in the All-Star game. The players we grew up watching would, especially during All-Star weekend, they took it serious to thank the fans. So I'm going to give you maximum effort and should really show you what I can show you my full range of ability. You know, All-Star game, slam dunk contest, 3-point shooting contest, whatever it is. They play to basically thank the fans for the support. That's what the game is all about. It's an honor for y'all to come and watch us every night, perform, get paid well, become worldwide superstars, and play the game. That's how they carried it. Today's players carry like it's an honor for y'all to watch us play, and that's the total vibe you got from Saturday. Like y'all should be honored to watch us come down, shoot these bullshit half-court threes, and not play no damn defense. Y'all should be happy we even showed up. And see, that's Adam Silver got to take some heat because he allowed this. He's too player friendly, and they spit in his face, and that's why he's mad. He's even mad. He ain't even know what to say after that. It's a disgrace because what people are trying to do, and it's from the top of the NBA with these little the numbers boys and all that. They're trying to find ways to boost excitement, but what boosts excitement is natural competition. That's what boosts excitement. You see what I'm saying? Like, dog, can Kobe guard Allen Iverson? Can Allen Iverson score on Kevin Garnett? Who can stop Shaq? Like, what happens when Jason Kidd throws a lob to Vince Carter or something? It's just different things you won't always get on the regular season because they playing for different teams in different conferences. It's the same thing. This is, bruh, after that Tyrese Halliburton barrage, I had to turn it off because it was clear what it was going to be. And I was hoping I was wrong. I hope I would get on Twitter and just say, man, they hooping now. Then I would turn it back on. I never heard that. I never seen anything like that. It was a disgrace and it was pathetic. And now my fear is young players are going to watch this shit and really think that's how basketball is supposed to be played. And not only are we going to lose All-Star weekend, which means they're going to lose a lot of damn money, we're going to lose the very essence of basketball that these legends for decades bust their ass to build because of these spoiled, entitled-ass players. And all right, we can get to it. LeBron James got to eat this. He's the face of the league. This has happened on his watch. You can't just be walking around taking the praise and stuff, man. Nah, man. And these players don't understand. They're eating off the backs of what those previous generations of players did. They ain't do this shit. They ain't laying the groundwork. Matter of fact, it was a special that came out this weekend about the 64 All-Star game where the players held the game hostage because they were trying to get a pension. They literally said that. Big O spoke on it. Jerry West, Bob Pettit, Lenny Wilkins. They literally spoke on that. This was the 60th year anniversary of that. That set the foundation for everything that has came now with the players being in power. And this is the things y'all giving them. If that report is true that Iguodala came, Dr. J, I know Larry Bird said something because the clip went around. You got OGs telling you, dog, all we asking y'all to do is compete, bro. Just compete. And y'all come out with the least competitive All-Star game ever. It's no respect, bro. So I don't want to hear shit from these motherfuckers complaining. I just don't want to hear it no more. I want to hear the best, more evolved. Soon as anybody come at me with that All-Star game, shut all that shit up. And really, I saw a couple players. I heard a couple players try. They said Kevin tried. They said Steph tried. What they should have did, oh, y'all ain't going to play? I'm taking my jersey and walking the fuck off. I'm going to sit on the score. Like, really make a scene. And call out these dudes, man, just like you would at the park. Oh, y'all don't want to play? Y'all acting like bitches, man. Play, dog. If we ain't going to play, we might as well save all these niggas, give them the refund, keep it moving. That would have caused the biggest scene. It was a disgrace, bro. And it's just like, what are y'all doing? Y'all gonna fuck it up for future generations. I guess because y'all got y'all bread, y'all good. But these youngers in high school stuff that's coming up and stuff like that, y'all gonna take this shit back to like the 80s when niggas making $2 million and stuff like that because y'all being greedy and selfish. Let's be for real, man. A lot of these dudes don't even deserve the bread they're getting. Y'all not winning. Y'all not making your team better. Y'all think y'all better than what y'all are. We see it all regular season long. The quality of the game has gone down. Every previous era, the game has been uplifted, it's elevated. Why all of a sudden over the last decade or so, the game has gone down? Slowly. It's like when Kobe and them guys retired, the shit started going south. That has to be said about the caretakers of the game. The LeBron, Steph got to eat that. KD's, all of them. They got to take that heat because y'all are the faces of the NBA, and the game is declining on y'all watch. That's a problem, man. We're going to move on. Stay with All-Star Weekend, but Kenny Smith, the comment about Sabrina Ionescu that made Kenny Smith public enemy number one, which I believe was the biggest story outside of the trash All-Star game. Do this quote saying she should have shot from the women's line. That would have been a fair contest. Smith joined the Stephen A. Smith show and kind of elaborate on that. He added that she should have shot from the line. There's a women's tee in golf and there's a men's tee for a reason. Obviously, we know what that does. That ruffled a lot of feathers, especially WNBA players and a lot of female players around the world. And for me, when I first heard about it and saw the clip, I was saying my man should have tried to elaborate even more to really explain what he was saying, because Kenny is not that type of guy. But I can see how those comments can make him look kind of funny in the light, especially with the state of women's basketball, how they're trying to uplift the game, and with the ignorance that continues to, the ignorant dialogue that continues to surround it. However, Kenny Smith spoke about it. He said that's not what he meant. Quote, I think it's much to do with about nothing. Kenny Smith said to Stephen A. about the controversy. Quote, most people who know basketball understood what I was talking about. Actually, I was advocating for her more than anything else because basketball is muscle memory. So he practices from one range, she practices from another. There's even a study, I think, with somebody throwing darts. And if you move him out even one step, his accuracy changes dramatically. But the funny thing about it is if you move him in one step, his accuracy changes because you take so many shots from the exact same spot. So I'm like, why is Curry getting an advantage to shoot at his line? That's an advantage. It's not gender. It's not genetics. Shooting is only muscle memory. Ray, we're going to start with you. Your thoughts on Kenny Smith elaborating on his comments on the Sabrina Ionescu, 3-point shooting comment. And do you think it was an uproar, much ado about nothing, especially after he clarified his comments?
Yeah, it overblown for sure. And like you said, I get it, in a vacuum that can come off a certain way, but like you said, Kenny Smith ain't never been that type of dude, man. And I get it. It's a sensitive subject with, again, the ignorance surrounding how people talk about the WNBA and women's basketball in general. But the energy is better spent elsewhere. I mean, people up in arms and throwing hissy fits about this. Yeah, where's all the energy when Skylar Diggins Smith was talking about what she went through in Phoenix? I think that's a much more worthwhile cause to get upset about than Kenny Smith talking about, which line Sabrina was going to shoot from. And I mean, and she, obviously she can shoot from the NBA line, and especially after you elaborate let's wrap this up by noon. Like, come on, man. Like it's better things to talk about. But yeah, that's what people do, man. And it's a lot of things I have to say about how people discuss and try to defend the WNBA online. It's a lot of disingenuous conversations happening around that. But again, we can go all night about that, so I'm not even gonna get into it much. But yeah, to your question, it's much ado about nothing, like you said. And I mean, I don't understand why people feel the need to just jump on something like this and try to vilify him in that way. I mean, yeah, he said something that could be interpreted a certain way by a group of people. I don't think it was insulting, but probably could have worded better or elaborated more in the moment. But he did get a chance to spin the block and fully explain his reasoning. And on top of that, Kenny Smith was a pretty good shooter, so I think he has a thing or two to say about about shooting the basketball. So yeah, man, let's move on, please.
Wilson.
Yeah, like I think Ray summed it up perfectly. In a vacuum, it was distasteful in a vacuum because he didn't provide the nuance, right? If he said what he said on Stephen A. Smith show at that time, we're not here. And at the same time, I think anybody who's spoken live on anything, he's not the first or last person to misspeak. There's times, every time we do something, I'm sure there's times like I have moments where I'm like, damn, I wish I explained this a little bit better, even maybe if it came across okay. But in my mind, I left some meat on that bone, what have you. Like that explanation should have erased whatever initial feelings were in that moment, should have threw everything away, because that explanation is highly detailed, clearly informative. It's in his area of expertise. Like, it made sense. It's just, again, it was a ill-advised comment. It was just the wrong comment on a hot mic. Like, he misspoke, and everyone misspeaking isn't the same. I would just say that. Like, we're in the information age, yet people find a way to use information wrong all the time. Makes no sense. Kenny Smith's been on TNT for however many years, like double his playing career almost, right? On TNT. How many times we've had Kenny Smith's been problematic? And then the explanation was great, detailed, outstanding. Let it go. Just let it go. There's a lot of issues on the media side with how people discuss and cover women's basketball. This wasn't worth the effort and time after the explanation was given. Like, it just wasn't.
And moving forward, if you have never attended a WNBA game, you're automatically disqualified from even talking about women's basketball ever again. Like, I don't even want to hear you talk. Like, that rule has to be in place. If you haven't even attended a game, you don't get to talk about shit. Shut the fuck up and keep it moving. Octavia, it's on you.
To be honest, like, I didn't even know that this was a big thing until like 2 days after it happened. Like, I remember watching the 3-point contest. I remember hearing him say it. And honestly, I didn't even think it was that big a deal when he said it. I just think a lot of people just like to be outraged, and they just like to see some type of controversy and to just say something. I personally don't even think it was offensive, even how he said it. And it could be just like you guys have also said it, is that somebody who plays the sport like understood what he meant. Like, I immediately understood what he meant. Like, he was literally just saying, like, well, the girls shoot closer and the guys usually shoot further away. So if we're going to do an even contest, why didn't she get to shoot from where she normally shoots? Like, to me, it made complete sense. While I do appreciate his explanation afterwards, to me, I'm in agreement with him. Like, it's much to do about nothing. Like, I don't understand why this is the huge thing. Clearly, she can shoot from behind the men's NBA 3-point line, obviously, as she had 26 points, which tied the actual leader in the first round for the 3-point contest anyway with Damian Lillard. So clearly she can do it. Granted, I don't even know. I feel like people who watch this probably didn't even actually see her when she shot the 3-point contest in the WNBA All-Star game last year, where it was amazing. And again, you probably don't watch enough WNBA games to see that she frequently shoots pretty far in the games anyway. So she definitely has that range. So I really don't understand the uproar behind it. I'm hoping Sabrina didn't even pay attention to it, because again, I just think it's ridiculous that this is even a conversation, to be fair. But yeah, I just think people just like to be upset and just to feel slighted in some type of way, start some type of controversy, have clickbait articles, things to talk about it. I feel bad that he had to actually come on and explain it, to be for real, but I just thought it was stupid, to be fair.
Yeah, it was, and Reggie Miller didn't help. Doubling down on it.
Yeah,
He
I
didn't.
just read the comment using some to play with dolls. I was like, what? That was confusing. Well, it wasn't confusing because of, for me, it wasn't confusing because of knowing the backstory of Sabrina Ionescu, where in middle school she wanted to play basketball with the boys and they told her to go play with dolls. And then she basically like started her own middle school team or something like that. So I get where he was coming from, but I feel like he was trying to be funny. It just wasn't funny.
But that's usually the case with Reggie. That's why I just like call the game and chill, dog. Because you made the situation worse. That's what it was. And I'm not worried about the fans. I started seeing some WNBA players like Skylar Diggins was like Kenny. I was like, ah, shit. They're like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, damn, some of them gonna start tripping. But you also got to be aware of the sensitive climate surrounding that because there's so much dialogue regarding the W. It's sickening, and some of it even comes from dudes who play ball who should know better. You see what I'm saying? That's what makes it even worse. So I'm glad Kenny came on and elaborate more. I wish you did it on air and stuff like that. But I know he ain't that type of dude. It's just that you really gotta be careful with that because they fighting an uphill battle, and obviously if Kenny Smith come along and say something like that, it could hurt things overall. But yeah, it's really. Like y'all said, man, you just in a messy ass time. People thrive off of messiness, man, and especially in sports media. And I just think it's too much. It's too many unqualified people talking about stuff in sports they shouldn't be talking about, man. Like everybody don't need to talk about everything. Stick to your level of expertise and just roll with that, bro. Because I'm just over the fan aspect of it. Like no disrespect, I don't want to hear a Hall of Fame football player trying to tell me about basketball. You know, like you talk about football, you know what I'm saying? Because you're not going to be educated. You ain't at any games. It's nothing to build up on your basketball acumen to be talking about that. Especially when you not even just talking about the NBA, you trying to talk about the WNBA. And I know damn well none of y'all at WNBA games. So it gets even worse, man. But, you know, I'm glad he elaborated on it. And, you know, yeah, let's just move on now. Reggie, on the other hand, I don't know what to say, man. He got he got some explaining to do. Couple more questions. We get out of here. Dallas Cowboys. Now they're going to be back. The curse is over, man. Longtime Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones and former coach Jimmy Johnson finally buried the hatchet this past season when Johnson was inducted to the franchise's Ring of Honor. And now, after almost 30 years, it appears that Johnson has taken his place with Jones in the circle. Quote, since the Ring of Honor, I am on Jerry's advisory board now. Johnson said kind of, you know, tongue-in-cheek with sarcasm. He said, we were talking on the phone about an hour after his Green Bay loss, and he was talking about what all he needed to do because he had big decisions on Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn and Dak Prescott. Johnson continued, everything is hunky-dory now. I'm back in the fold with the Cowboys. Johnson was referring to the Cowboys' embarrassing 48-32 wildcard loss to the Green Bay Packers in January. How involved Johnson is within the Cowboys organization probably will never come to light, but at the very least, there's finally no more bad blood between the two Hall of Famers. Wilson, I know you mad about the 49ers, you can care less, but in this situation, are you just even happy that this man buried the hatchet with somebody who brought the last little bit of success that they've had?
What I want to say is not appropriate. However, and I'm actually at peace with the Niners loss more so than 19. But good job, Jerry, I guess, for doing something you should have did 30 years ago. Like, I don't know. Like, your greatest stretch of success was like I'm gonna be honest, like, no Jimmy, no you. Like, you just a failed owner. Like, like a lot of the reason you get to walk around with your chef pasta, he's right there. Like, he did that. And then when he left, boom. Boy, they still waiting. Just waiting. Just multiple years. They're like a Wile E. Coyote, bro. They just never going to get right. Like, doesn't matter what happens. But you couldn't just show love. And it's almost like all you had to do was show love to the dude that had y'all on top of the world. man. Like, what's so hard about that? It was something so simple. But, Cardell, we talk all the time off wax, it's like, egos are a powerful thing. And this is just like, it's hard for me to give your very seasoned self a pat on the back for doing something you should have been did. Like, this is ridiculous. What, did you wake up and was like, maybe if I'm nice to Jimmy, this curse will end? It's not going to end, one. And two, he been deserved this, if not more. Like, again, like, you can't tell the story of the Cowboys without this man in it. You just can't. But I guess kudos to him or whatever, man. And Mike McCarthy, watch your back, man. Watch your back. Just watch your back.
Octavia, problems coming.
I mean, to be honest, like, I thought that they squashed their beef. You put him in the Ring of Fame, whatever, Ring of Honor. There we go. Put him in the Ring of Honor this year. I thought the curse was lifted then because they were doing great. I personally come out and said I really thought that this year was going to be a really good year for them, and it still didn't work. So I don't know if this is going to change anything. Like, I don't at this point, like I don't even understand. Like, I literally have to really go back to remember what they're even beefing about, because it's like, at this point, sir, it's been 30 years. Like, why? What is the point? So while I am happy for them that they squashed it, I don't know what Jimmy being back in the fold is going to do. This is not the same Jimmy Johnson of 30 years ago as well. If you watch Fox Countdown on Sundays, he be lost sometimes too. So I don't know what another 81-year-old telling another 81-year-old is going to do, but I'm sure he does still have some things that he could possibly help with. But this doesn't change my mind that this is their year. I mean, we do this every year. I wish them the best in the most fun, best way ever. But yeah, I don't know why it took him, again, whatever this beef was, it took him this long to let it go. I'm glad he did it before, because it would have sucked if he unfortunately may have passed away and they weren't able to ever squash it. So in the human aspect of it, I'm glad they were able to it. In the NFL football aspect, like, I don't know, it's going to take more than Jimmy Johnson at this point, because they got to figure some stuff out, and they got a lot of people to pay. So that's, to me, going to be the most interesting thing for their off season. I don't know if Jimmy Johnson is going to be in the fold for that portion of it.
No doubt. Ray, what's up with your mom?
It was the hometown info, man.
My man look like Crib Keeper, but go ahead, man.
Yeah, man, this ain't gonna help nothing.
See, I trying to bring some optimism into it, though, after the All-Star weekend.
Yeah, I know how I feel. The ship not going to get back on course until Jerry Jones is no longer affiliated. Go ahead, sell the team, get the $6 billion, and let somebody take them in another direction, man. Like, I don't know what brought this about. Glad it finally happened after however many years, but long overdue. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like on Game of Thrones when Stannis burned his daughter alive. You just trying anything at this point, man. Like, it's over, bro. It's over, dog. It's nothing you can do, man. Like, I don't know why he doesn't understand this. Like, and like, yeah, of course I want Jerry Jones gone under, his own volition. Like, I don't want the man to pass away or anything. Sell the team, dog. It's over. There's no more you can do. You could have ran off a whole lot more if you didn't run the man in the picture away 30 years ago. Like, so what are we doing here? It is what it is. You made your decisions, live with them. You cannot reverse course. It's a wrap. Yeah, man. Like, cash a check and ride off to the sunset. Like burying the hatchet with Jimmy Johnson does nothing for you at this point. And I hope you're not thinking about trying to get him to come back to coach. Like this is, yeah, nah, bro. Like,
Talk about like,
yeah, man. But no, seriously, the Cowboys going cowboy. They've been doing it since '96. I'm not. The only way I'm gonna be convinced that things are different is if they show me it's different. So until then, yeah, man, they're gonna be going home in the first round of the playoffs. It is what it is. Like I just don't understand like how any Cowboys fan can be optimistic at this point. Like this season should be a perfect way to encapsulate that. They had no business losing in the playoffs the way they lost after how they finished the regular season, man. Like that had been the downfall before. As soon as December hit, they just start fading away. They didn't do that this year. So that just meant the playoff loss was going to be that much more comical. And lo and behold, so yeah, man, glad Jimmy getting his due, but this has no bearing on football whatsoever.
All right, last question. We're gonna get up out of here. Octavia Boo, Carmelo Anthony nearly joined Kobe Bryant with the LA Lakers back in 2011. Anthony, who spent 7.5 seasons with the Denver Nuggets before he was dealt to the Knicks in a 3-team blockbuster trade in February 2011, shared that the Nuggets had a deal in place to send him to the Lakers before he ultimately landed in the Big Apple. During a recent appearance on the podcast, The Wire with Dwayne Wade, Anthony discussed the Nuggets-Lakers trade with his close friend and fellow former NBA star, telling a longtime Miami Heat guard that former Denver coach George Karl nixed the deal. Quote, the deal was done with the Lakers, me and Nene Hilario for Lamar Odom and Andrew Bynum. That deal was done. Anthony said before revealing that it was Karl, with whom he has an ongoing feud with, who turned that deal down. Anthony spent 19 seasons in the NBA, said the Nuggets then explored trading him to the Eastern Conference after they rebuffed the Lakers' blockbuster offer. The prospect of Anthony, who ranks 9th on the all-time scoring list, and Brian, who ranks 4th on the same team, is a scary thought indeed, especially considering that Los Angeles was coming off back-to-back NBA championships in 2009 and 10. Octavia, the floor is yours. And your boo would have had a couple rings, man. What's up with George Karl, dog?
I mean, it's well documented at this point that they did not like each other. Although I think that it was on both of them. I feel like Carmelo has come out in the past and stated that, he probably could have been a better player, as far as a better team player, excuse me. And I'm sure that rubbed George Karl the wrong way. And I'm sure they just never really got along. So granted, I really wish this story would have just stayed because at this point, I don't understand why we're talking about it. It didn't happen. And I mean, I guess it was the what if thing. But it didn't happen. And what's crazy is like I get it to a certain extent because like I have that level of petty in me, so I can understand what George Karl was coming from when he came down to it. Especially trading within the same same conference. That's always kind of weird too. So I would be kind of interested to hear George Karl's side of it. Just to play devil's advocate for a while, but I mean, I personally am glad it never happened because, again, I've never been a Lakers fan. I would have been super sad to be a Lakers fan at that time at a very part, like the height of his career. I hated it when he was a Lakers, like the latter part of his career. So I wouldn't have not liked it. So I'm actually very glad this never happened.
Right.
Yeah, who cares, man? Like, all right, man. We gonna talk about every trade that could have happened and whatnot. And like Octavia said, why would you expect that man to trade you to a team that he's gonna have to go through to possibly win a championship? That don't make no sense. So yeah, and I mean that will stand in obviously Carmelo and George Karl had a tumultuous relationship, but yeah, that just isn't wise. You don't trade guys of that caliber to the same side of the playoff tree. That's just not how it works. But yeah, I have no interest in hearing about failed trades from 25 years ago. Again, they need to start charging $5 million for podcast equipment. It's just overwhelming at this point. Guys are running out of things to talk about. Yeah, it is what it is, man. It didn't happen. You had the career you had. Please move on. But yeah, this is a non-story for me.
And you said teams don't trade within that conference. The hometown team does. See the Detroit Pistons. Wilson.
I don't even know where to start. First
Bad
off,
teams do bad things.
facts. Shout out to my girl Owen Reese for the greatest comment I keep in mind for the rest of my life. Bad things do bad things. Bad teams do bad things. Man, him and George Karl relationship this many years later, I'm not gonna lie, it's sad but also funny because you never know what random day George Karl's gonna get on Twitter and just say some wild stuff. Like his happy birthday to Nikola Jokic was uncalled for and an unnecessary stray for Melo, but also just like it's par for the course. Like you guys all alluded to, smart teams don't typically give away good players within conference. However, there's a part of me that wish there was an alternate universe in which this happened, because I would love to see how him joining Kobe would have affected his other friend and how things would have turned out if Kobe had Melo on his team. So who would have Lebanon went to go get on his team if Kobe had Melo? So I'm just interested to see how that affects that timeline. But yeah, these podcast things are just getting crazy, man. Like a lot of us are old enough. We saw what happened, and that's great, man. I'm sure there are so many much more impactful stories that some of these dudes could be telling. As Ray said, and if you don't have those stories, that's okay too. You don't have to have a podcast. We'll appreciate if we feel nostalgic, man. YouTube works fine. Type in your name, watch some highlights for a little bit. It's cool. Keep it moving. But yeah, I'm with Ray, man. I didn't want to hear some of y'all talk when y'all played. I'm cool off this. I promise. I'm cool. And some of the stuff y'all say is so irresponsible that I've lost so much respect for some of you because I've gotten a chance to hear you speak more. It's like some of the respect I had when they played is gone. I'm not talking about Melo per se, but just some of these folks that have podcasts, like, nah, just put it away. Put down the equipment, walk away from the microphone. It's horrible. But yeah, it's just funny, man.
Yeah,
I didn't see the George Karl tweet, so I literally just had to Google it. Yeah, he's savage for that. That was just rude.
I ain't see it.
Maybe he said congratulations to the best team player. I just closed it, but best team player, best the greatest player to ever wear number 15 in Denver hoops history, and he tagged Melo in the tweet.
Damn, this was after I said it or before?
No, this was on February 19th.
Oh,
so yesterday.
Yeah, so this was after the Melo came out. After the this was probably after. So yeah, this is
Maybe this will be Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson in 30 years. Maybe they'll make up.
Nah.
And Melo could get no ring of honor.
Man. My take is gonna be brief, man. And that's a good point you brought up, Will. So I would have loved to see how that would have played out with that Miami Heat, because that'd have been it'd have been different. Now they would have had to get past the Mavs and stuff like that and the Spurs to get there, but if they'd have met them in the finals, that's problem.
And my bad to cut in. The only reason would have been interesting to me, because we saw what it looked like in 17 and 18 when you had your hands full. And your friend would have had your hands full. So I'm just interested. Just curiosity, man.
But yeah, the podcast thing, it's the reason why I feel like the Knuckleheads have the best podcast. But you also, the other thing with them, they actually have a journalism background. Like Q Richardson and those guys actually are at games and calling games and actually do legit journalistic work and have been doing it for years. So they have great basketball stories, great guests, and it's the best because it's not messy. It's never any drama from them. It's just healthy basketball conversation. They don't disrespect nobody, but it's real. So that's my favorite podcast. A lot of these other dudes just be on there saying a bunch of, and it's like I got a thing with me. I don't respect you saying it on camera that you didn't say face to face or you won't say face to face with somebody. That's coward stuff. You see what I'm saying? And they do it all the time, especially the cats that be on ESPN and stuff. Like, we talked about the JJ Redick thing about Doc Rivers and he overreacting, slamming the pen on the damn desk and all. I'm like, what is all that for, man? What is all that for, dog? Like, I got people that was in Philly when you called out DeAndre Jordan and then you had to call the game and DeAndre came out and they was waiting to get on the court and he was staring you down. You wouldn't even look his way. But don't nobody want to ever talk about that stuff. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just like, I don't want to hear nothing else. My point is, I don't want to hear nothing else from these players about media doing this and media doing that. Because y'all worse. Y'all off the chain, bro. So with the petty stuff and everything like that, man. But it's cool for me to know that was there. And it just makes you realize, like, they were really scared that boy Bean. The Lakers, because think about the Chris Paul thing, that. Now, I don't know if the Chris Paul thing would have came through. I don't know if they would even had that Melo thing on the table, but yeah, man, it'd have been interesting, especially out west. It would have definitely been interesting. And it definitely would have expanded that championship window for sure, man. So, but all the messy stuff, I'm just kind of over it, man, because it's enough mess, man. We got to get back to basketball.
Please, just if we can, in professional sports, like, it's kind of crazy, y'all, but like, the sport itself is actually interesting. It's a lot of stuff to talk about. I know it's weird. It's call me crazy, but it's actually fun. I want to thank you guys for tuning in this week, man. We appreciate y'all. As always, don't forget to follow Focus TV on all your social media mediums, and we will get at you guys next week. Also, if you have Roku television or device, it's really simple. Type in the Focus TV search box, double tap, okay? And it's that simple. Y'all have a great week.